Are you tired of watching shows that only give you general social media theory and expect you to figure out how to apply it to your own industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasevich.
Welcome everyone to Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing news talk show. This is episode 233 with myself, Sarah Monroe, and this week's guest, Janine Cummings. We're going to be talking this week about TikTok. TikTok is now going to be making some enhancements to videos, and we're not talking about, hey, a little more creative features and whatnot. So I'm going to bring on Sarah. We're going to kick things off and then talk about, and then you get a chance to meet this week's guest. So Sarah, how you doing?
I'm great. Yes. It's interesting how the tides turn on social media, right? Everybody has been chasing short video with TikTok, and now TikTok, it took a little prying, but they did confirm to TechCrunch and Wired that they are testing 10-minute videos. I never thought we were going to talk about 10-minute videos on TikTok, but here we are. And this week's guest is Janine Cummings, like you had said. I am so excited to meet Janine because she helps women business owners. I help women business owners. She helps them generate leads, develop strategies, and most importantly, leverage video. So we're going to talk about the age-old question, how long should a video be, and how to use it wisely and effectively for your audiences. So Janine, come on and let me know if I introduced you well. Is there anything you want to add?
Thank you so much. No, that was perfect. I love it. I'm here to have some coffee and conversations with you today, as my shirt says. Really excited to be here. Thank you, Sarah, for that lovely introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. And cheers. Yes. Got a little caffeine going. We're different time zones, but you may have the afternoon caffeine. We've got the morning caffeine, and trying to wake up the internet here where I am. And we'll just hop right in. Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. So Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's kick things off and let you take it from here.
All right. So for 3 years, we have been chasing TikTok. Every platform has been chasing this 1-minute short form video. And if those who may remember social media history, in July of 2021, not 8 months ago, TikTok released the opportunity to move to 3-minute videos. And very quietly through August until February of 2022, that is, for those who may be watching later, they were testing 5-minute video. And then some internet sleuths have seen in the last week that they are getting little alerts saying that they can expand their videos up to 10 minutes. So TechCrunch really turned the screws on TikTok to say, what's up with this? And they finally admitted in a statement saying, yes, we are testing this. Yes, this can be an option. It's funny. I found a great article by Wired about this that came out 2 days before this 10-minute test came out. So we're going to talk about that, sort of the trends of video length. So first, let's talk about what TikTok said. So I don't know, is it a surprise? Is it not a surprise that TikTok is going to longer length videos? Mostly because we've seen a lot of TikTok creators move over to YouTube because their audiences want to see longer content from them. They just can't do it on the platform. So it's going to be interesting to see if longer video is more appealing to audiences, if there are more monetization opportunities with this, like maybe mid-reel advertising the way we see in YouTube. It's really hard to squeeze an ad into a 45-second video. So there really hasn't been that opportunity on TikTok. So we are going to see this strange. So some things to think about is that TikTok has been short and all of the other platforms have been chasing it. So they have that 1-minute time frame for these vertical videos. YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, Pinterest even and Snap all have these options for these short videos. So it's going to be interesting to see if TikTok creators can reuse their content now on other platforms. How is this all going to shake out? It is a little interesting to say the least. So a few things to consider with TikTok. They are now up to 1 billion users worldwide, 100 million users in the United States, 23 million users in the UK. And what's really interesting is a third of TikTok users say that they watch videos on 2 times speed, so double the speed. So even their attention spans are so short that a 1-minute video is too long for them. They have to play it faster. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this longer content works. I think we're going to see a lot of people who are just there for the memes and the dance challenges and things like that. They may fall to the side, and then we're going to see much richer content creation when it comes to the longer form video. So I think I've covered all of the news about this. It's a very short statement that TikTok put out. I know that we will see something longer from them soon, but it's not up on their blog yet. Again, it's just been the journalists, the tech journalists who've been pulling this information out of them. So I'll open it up to Janine and Christian. What do we think? Especially Janine, right? You leverage video for people. So is it going to be a thing? What's going on? What do you think?
So I saw that article in Wired, and I actually shared it with my community as well, because I thought that it was really, really interesting. I think this is a good move by TikTok. And the reason why I think it's a good move, like with all of the platforms, they are dominating their specific thing. And it makes sense for them to try and lean into another area with the longer form video content, because we know TikTok have mastered short form. They're the kings, queens, gods, social media gods of short form video content. So I think it's definitely a good idea. I think it will give an opportunity for creators like myself that like to explore longer form video to, create community and to dive deeper in being able to help our community around our area of expertise. I think it's going to be great because people want to have other options. Yes, we know people are going to TikTok for short form video content. Yes, we know people have short attention spans, but let's try and, reach all people, be able to give something to another type of audience, or an audience that likes to consume content in another way. So like I said, TikTok have done their thing. They're holding their spot. But it makes sense for them as a business to expand, to try other things, to tap into other markets as well, I think.
Right. And that Wired article, I haven't had a chance to read through there. There's a link in that Wired article. We'll put it in the show notes and can pop it into the chat too. That Wired article does talk to a psychologist who is saying that we do have longer attention spans. It's just our perception is that we have short attention spans, and this disease of multitasking, right? The misperceptions of multitasking are really clouding our judgment when it comes to video length. So, I have clients who say, 3 minutes, Sarah, we got to get that 20-minute really good interview that you had with someone down to 3 minutes. And it's like, wait a second, it's a really good story, right?
Yes.
And I think we should let the story drive the video length. What do you think of that?
Absolutely, 100%, because people love storytelling. Let's tap back into the age-old thing of once upon a time there was a princess locked in a castle far, far away. We see that in movies. People love the story, and it's a smart thing to have storytelling as part of our content. So absolutely 100%. I think that I agree that we have told ourselves that our attention spans are a lot shorter, and we are bombarded with a lot of shorter content. So yes, that's how I can consume. That's the only way. But that's not actually true, because we're seeing that even on YouTube. If you find content creators that you really gel with, for example, I'm part of a number of different communities that I tune in for weekly live streams, and I will stay for those live streams, whether they're an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, if I have the time and I love the community and I love the topic and that person, I'm sticking around. So my attention span is there. And I see that there's not just myself, there'll be hundreds of people that are doing exactly the same thing. So I definitely think we need to really address that. The fact is that we definitely do have the attention spans. And I think that storytelling is powerful and effective, but you can only do that really well when you have time to build that story, because it's the connecting with your audience. You can't do that so much with a short. You can, but not in the context of kind of building, relationship, expertise, authority, and positioning.
Right. And I like your thought about community too, because there is a lot of data about people just hanging out on the live streams. It's like you can just spend some time with that community, with that creator, and have a chat. It's something that's running while you're doing other things. I cook or I fold laundry or something like that while I'm listening to these longer live streams and having a really great time connecting with that community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Christian, we haven't given you a chance to jump in. You want to jump in?
It's okay. I gotta say, I'm intrigued to see how people handle this, because the thing with video, I like the fact that TikTok is expanding this. I like that they're not making it like, hey, you can go up to like an hour. I like that it's short amounts of time. The age old question people always ask is like, how long should that video be? And the answer is always like, as long as it needs to be. And so I like the fact that they're saying, hey, you know what, 10 minutes, great. Like, and that's going to give you, I think the key thing here is it's going to give you the ability to experiment, because some content is going to, it relies on being a very short and concise piece of video content, and other content is going to need a little bit of extra time. So I do like the fact that you're expanding this. I do also think that this is also going to give them maybe a play into the YouTube world potentially at some point, because YouTube allows, pretty much videos in pretty much any length. And the thing is, you have people that they end up making videos that are too long for the most part, because they think that's what they need to make. And in this case, though, like, this is showing you that, like, hey, you know what, if you have short video content, it can work. You just need to know how to actually, like Janine said, tell a really good story. And storytelling, I think, is just absolutely key with all this.
Right. Right. Let's keep in mind, though, YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world. It's not going anywhere. It really isn't.
No, you're right.
So, yeah. They need to sort out, like Instagram is going through right now. They need to sort out where shorts are going to fall, right? Because they are clogging up our subscription feeds. So there needs to be a place for shorts. Yeah. But I've seen, it's like an accordion with the length of YouTube videos. They were 4 minutes and 7 minutes and 12 minutes. And now here, just back and forth and back and forth. And I got to say, I have Sunday mornings, I watch my travel vloggers and have a lovely time with them talking to me for 15 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever it is. So yeah.
Definitely. I gotta say, I like that. And is there anything, I have a question. Is there anything that people need to do to take advantage of these longer TikTok videos? Is it like, are they going to have to like update their app? What do they need to do?
It's in beta right now, and it's a very small beta group. So, and TikTok isn't even copying to it on their blog, right? This was something I think TechCrunch is the only one who pried that quote out of TikTok. The Wired piece that came out 2 days before has a lot of folks interviewed, including Hank Green, some really prominent video content creators. And nice. It's a really good piece about it. So just to add on that TikTok may be expanding to longer form video too. So they haven't announced anything in their product blog. I don't think they will. I think it's such a small group. Even the 5-minute group was really tiny. So
yeah, I gotta say, here's what this is what I would do if I were a business right now. What I would do is I would look at who those people are in that group that have access to the longer videos and go and follow them and watch their videos and see what are they doing with the extra time, and see if that's something that you can, you don't want to make the same exact videos they make, but you want to make, you want to follow a similar pattern with what they're making, I think. So,
right. You can also find them on YouTube too. A lot of content creators from TikTok, the good ones, have moved over to YouTube channels so that they can do longer form video.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, well, do we want to stay on video for our second news item? We'll go to Instagram that is talking about their video piece too. those who really follow Instagram and the Instagram, I call it Cousin Adam, right? Adam Mosseri and some other folks at Instagram who've been pretty vocal. I guess they've been quiet over the last 6 months, but around this time last year, they were really vocal about what a mess it was on Instagram to try to find video, because there were video in the feed. There was IGTV. They had just rolled out Reels, and there was video in Stories, and there are all these little places to find video. And they said, we are going to make it a goal to make this simplified. We know that we're going to be a video platform, much more of a video platform. We've seen that happen over this last year. And so now they are announcing that they are officially renamed IGTV, just Instagram video. And they are eliminating the IGTV app, so the standalone IGTV app. And what they're saying is that there's going to be a more seamless look between Reels and video in your feed. What we can read between the lines and wonder is, does that mean there is going to be a separate Reels feed the way we can see it now? Is there going to just be more suggested video or suggested Reels in your main feed? We don't know, but they are showing us how things are going to look in this little screenshot from their blog. And they are promising that it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier to watch and create video. So again, full screen viewer. There's going to be a tap to mute, which I hope they figure out, or I figure out, I gotta say, because I have a hard time unmuting Reels sometimes. They are saying there's going to be one consistent way to share videos, which is terrific. And they're also going to bring together creation tools and provide new ways to discover content. So that creation tool, I gotta say, I'm really looking forward to, because right now, trying to remember where the buttons are between Stories and Reels and this and that. It's like, can we just have one control panel, right? Can we just have one control panel for all of the Meta properties, not just Instagram? So I think that's it. I will say, check out that blog post that we'll link in the comments and in our blog. This is from the Instagram blog, because they have some tips for creating a hook and consistency and material. So Janine, this is your wheelhouse. What do you think?
Well, I do like that they're doing all these kind of updates. The thing is that, like what you just mentioned about, there's just lots of different moving parts. It would be nice to have that one consistent control panel to just make things easier and take away the overwhelm. With regards to the feed, I mean, we're already seeing it on Instagram that pretty much it's Reels, even though they have their separate feed. In the main feed, we're still seeing quite a lot of Reels now. And what we're also seeing is a lot of creators making sure that if they're not creating Reel specific content and they're doing posts, whether it's carousels or static posts, they're also making sure that the sizes of the dimensions of those posts are looking the same as Reel, so that it fits to screen. I don't know if you guys have seen that. There's been a lot of tips around that. So the focus of there being this feed where it's just clear, where we have that, they've taken out IGTV now. So we've got that one place. It's Instagram video, isn't it? I keep saying it's Instagram TV or Instagram video.
Instagram video, yep.
Instagram video. I think it's great because, you know, if we're creating, whether it is Reels or it is, for example, audio video, because I like to add those in as well, or just straight to camera videos or repurposed lives, it's nice that now there is that one specific place. What I would say though, the only thing that I think about this is, in terms of the actual video content and the having this space to have a place for video, how is it special? That, if that makes sense. So in terms of what I'm seeing right now, in terms of the Instagram video feed, is a lot of repurposed live videos. I don't know if that's your experience. So I think the mindset around Instagram video is, well, I'm just going to share my repurposed live, or the end of my live, post it there. And I don't think that we should be looking at it like that. Instagram needs to share the opportunity in a way that's going to make people want to create more video, not just reels, but more different style of video. So I'm seeing some creators moving towards creating vlog style videos, like mini vlogs in vertical format, which I think is great. So it's about how do we make it special? So Instagram, yes, we've got this, but give us some ideas to create content, other video content that's not just reels, even though that is their focus, to encourage more people to create different forms of video. I don't know if I just went off on a tangent there, but I hope you got
No, it's great because, you know, I think Instagram video has been trying to figure things out, right? In the beginning with IGTV and things like that, it was sort of the sit down and talks, or the more produced ones, sort of YouTube style kind of storytelling. Reels have been a lot of just repurposed TikTok challenges and dances and reuse of the audio and all of that. I think we're going to see that drop. Like you said, you are seeing more of the chat, you know, produced for Instagram kind of reels. My feed hasn't quite gotten there yet, but I will say I don't see most Instagram live stuff because I'm not a big consumer of Instagram live. So I'll watch live on YouTube more, but I haven't seen that. So it's interesting. It's always interesting to see how that Instagram algorithm is tweaking down to each individual user and how you consume the content and how they decide what comes next. And I have to say, Instagram is the best at it. They really are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So another piece to this Instagram news is that auto captioning is going to be part of feed videos, just automatically. You actually have to turn it off. So it's going to be a toggle. We do have a screenshot of it. It is a toggle to turn on and off, but it's going to be automatically on. It's a huge step for accessibility. And also those of us who I like Instagram being quiet. That was how I started using Instagram. I know it's kind of old school, but I do tend to like that Instagram can be quiet. And when I have reels popping up with loud music or this or that, it's not quite that calming, happy place that Instagram has always been for me. So I really do appreciate the captions coming up. And Janine, I'm sure you, like me, are plagued by the captioning, you know, having to upload captioning with videos. So this will be a great tool.
Absolutely. I think it's really exciting. I think, you know, a lot of the conversations around captions has been about, oh, well, you know, people consume a lot of video without the sound on, and that's true. But now kind of coming from the focus of there are people that are hearing impaired and being able to support every type of user. I think that that's really good. So captioning 100%, I think this is a really, really good move.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, I mean, here's the other thing, like there are certain organizations where they are required to have captioning. And so, you know, if like in a lot of organizations, like they have the budget, things like that to do that. However, you know, if you're a small business and you're trying to like, you know, get your channel off the ground, for example, it's like, well, captioning is kind of like, hey, I can get as much of it done as I possibly can, but hey, that something's fall by the wayside. So I like the fact that they are adding these in. And I think, you know, I think at the same time, the timing is good too, because just the fact that things have been really improving a lot in terms of the AI aspect of this and, you know, and building those captions automatically versus, oh, it's a lot more manual work. So it's a good, very good move.
Right. Yeah. Especially in the US, those of us who've worked in the arts and humanities, it has been a requirement for at least 12 years, 10 years. I want to say the ADA accessibility standards for anybody who's working in the arts or humanities who gets any kind of federal funding is super high in the United States. Is it like that in the UK, Janine?
I don't really know too much about that, to be fair, in terms of that requirement here in the UK. I should probably go do some bit of research, but that's quite interesting to see that that's a requirement and has been. Probably is the same. I will look into that. But yeah, no, I'm not actually aware myself personally.
Yeah. I mean, even down to the color contrasts on websites, we've been having to work around that. I think probably, for at least 15 years, it's been an issue when I've worked on websites for the arts. So, I mean, the arts are much more accessible in the US, I think, than other industries. And so it's been great to be part of that leading edge, right? And see the business community catch up.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So, ready for the next? We'll
Let's
stick
do
with
it.
Meta. We'll stick with Meta. And so this is news that I get to break. First time, I think. I'm the first one who saw something before Murray Smith, before some of the others. And that is Facebook Protect. So Facebook has mentioned this over the course of the last year. They have been changing their standards when it comes to accounts needing to be verified. If you're running ads about social issues, different accounts that are working. I've seen it on accounts that I manage that are social issues or public entities. And so it was Tuesday night. Yes, you can see the timestamp. I was scrolling around midnight. All of a sudden I got this Facebook Protect pop up, and I couldn't go any further on my phone until I actually went through the process. So for accounts, they're saying that this is for accounts that have the potential to reach larger audiences. So if you're I'm guessing if you're managers of many pages. For me, I'm a manager of nonprofit social issue pages and also some public pages, public entity pages, as well as small businesses. So they forced me to do this. So the first screen is what you'll see when it pops up. Yes, it's a real thing. It's not some weird scammy thing. So if it pops up for you, go through the steps. And it does explain why they want this advanced security. The third screen, I actually have already done because I am a verified account. So I don't know if others will have to go through the next steps with it. So they will check your account for vulnerabilities. You do need very strong passwords. They will require the two-step authentication. And I have to say, it's a pain. I had to reload Chrome on one of my laptops this morning. And I had to try 3 times to get back into Facebook on that one machine. So they are taking it very seriously. And the screens look a little bit different. The prompt boxes look a little bit different when you have to authenticate a new browser. So, and then the last one will let you know that you're all set. So they are saying that this is a lead up to the United States elections that are coming in the fall. I'm sure that this may be rolling out a little bit more to other people, given what's happening in Eastern Europe right now, and just trying to make sure that accounts are true and there are real people behind it, not bots and not people trying to spread misinformation. So I'll ask you two, have you seen it yet? So
I've seen this. I have seen it. So
yeah.
I haven't yet.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I'm gonna echo the same sentiment, Sarah. Like I feel like two-factor authentication, all that sort of stuff needs to be on, but you're absolutely right. It does require like a lot of jumping through hoops. This reminds me of back in the day when people would be, you'd be managing social media for a company and they're in another location, and it'd be like you'd get in one day and then the next day you couldn't get in, and there'd always be something going on where it was not an easy process. So
right. Or you created the account, the authentication phone number is the VP of marketing, and so that person has to give you the code each time it gets text. So yeah. So another caveat with this, I read into Facebook Protect a little deeper, and they have this one line that says what will come later is page publishing authorization. So that says to me, there's something else coming. So, and likely I'll put on my Swami hat and light up my crystal ball and say it will likely be by June that we'll have something else to do. So I don't know. That's my given the verification steps that I've had to do. I won't be surprised if there's going to be more. So Yeah.
And I mean, the hardest part, I guess, with this is that you got to get all the users on board to do this, and there's a lot of people that, they don't want to set up that extra step. So I don't know. I don't know if there's an easier way to make it happen. I mean, it is a little frustrating considering it's like you might be trying to be off your device, but then it's like, well, I need to log into something, but then I have to go back to the device to be able to, get access to it. Janine, anything else you want to add on this?
Yeah, no, I've not actually personally seen it, but I think with anything, got to simplify the process because people just get frustrated. So that's what I would say with that. But I will definitely be looking out for that because I do have 3-4 pages. They're all mine, but 4 different pages that I manage. So definitely will be looking out for that.
Yeah, I think it was, I manage a municipality. So I think that's what really triggered me during right now. It's election season in the Northeast where I live in the United States. So we had elections on Tuesday. So local elections. So I think that's one of the reasons it lit up on Tuesday. So yeah. I think for me, it's frustrating. It was a little bit of a pain, especially when I had to verify my ad account and they had to send me a piece of mail and I needed to enter that, like that old school Google postcard that you used to get, right? But it's verifying that I'm a person. And that means that the bots aren't going to be verified and go through this authorization process. So I, weed out the bots, weed out the spam accounts, weed out the farms of all of these fake accounts. If that means it takes me an extra 5 minutes, it took me about 10 minutes this morning. But if that happens once a month, once a quarter, hey, it's making Facebook a better place. And I think that's a good thing.
You have to look at it like that. I think sometimes we get, again, with this kind of microwave social media society, it's like things got to be quick. And if they're not quick in our time, we get frustrated with it. But like you've made a valid point in saying, you don't have to, it weeds out all of the problematic stuff. So it's about taking that time, just get that thing done. And then you don't have to worry about it until you need to verify again. But no, it makes sense. Absolutely.
And it's funny you mentioned this. We were talking about TikTok videos and, increasing the length and reducing, like the need to be like making just super short video content and talking about attention spans. And it's the same thing, I think, with this attention spans, again, you want to make it easy for people. Otherwise they're not going to use it. So.
Right. So, okay. So let's fly through the rest of the news so that we have plenty of time to talk to Janine about video. So the next piece, we're jumping into LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is launching a podcast network. So they are working with a select number of experts who are going to be showcased on the podcast network. They're also going to have some in-house people talk about LinkedIn news and other features. I'm guessing, again, crystal ball here, I think it's going to be a lot more tutorials about using LinkedIn for career searching and career development. They have said that will be part of their experts, but I think in-house will probably give us more of that. It's going to be interesting to see any kind of tutorials or things like that happen in the podcast sphere. But what's great about this is that you get all of the engagement tools that come with LinkedIn on top of the podcasting. So, these LinkedIn creators can engage with their audiences through the creator mode newsletters, through posts, through lives, Q&As, all kinds of potential that come with all of the tools of LinkedIn with the podcast network. It's a small list right now of creators that are on the podcast network. But you can take a look. We'll link the announcement and who's there in our blog post and in the comments for the show. You will be able to listen to these podcasts on other platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all of that. The other piece that's coming, LinkedIn had a very long blog post about all of the changes, and we're running a little bit short on time, so I'll just quickly go through them. There's they outlined about 5 things that are coming with changes. They're going to give you more control over the posts that you see, and be able to tailor your feed a little bit more by letting them know what you're not interested in. There's going to be changes to the inbox so that you can bulk manage your messaging. You can create an away message. There's going to be some network filters, some better network filters so that you can search people in your network. And they are going to offer some more career development with helping you help you find experts and advice and live events and other kinds of things. So read through that very long blog post from LinkedIn about what's coming for changes. They didn't really say what's released now other than that podcast network, but all of these other things we'll be seeing coming up from LinkedIn. And as we all know, LinkedIn is great about the announcements, and then sometimes you don't really see what happens for several months. So we'll keep an eye on this and let you know when we actually see things go live on our Instagram accounts. And speaking of engagement, our last piece of news this week is that Clubhouse has brought in-room chat. So that people who are inside a Clubhouse room can chat with each other. Moderators will be able to moderate the discussion, which out of the gate apparently was extremely needed. I guess some of the reports about this when it first launched was that there was a lot of inappropriate content that moderators had to whack-a-mole to get off of the rooms. So what you'll see on your little control panel across that bottom there, next to the replay and the clip, you'll also see that little talk bubble. You'll be able to see what the comments are. So anything from Janine or Christian about what's happening with LinkedIn or Clubhouse?
I gotta say that you're absolutely right about the LinkedIn article. I was expecting to be able to just, kind of just quickly just do a quick preview of it. And there was a lot in there, a whole lot in there. And I don't know what direction they're going to go with some of these things, but I gotta say, I still like what LinkedIn's doing. They've really started to ramp up the features they're rolling out to users to make the platform even more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just to make the platform even better than it is already. So, and speaking of Clubhouse, the other thing I also like about the Clubhouse feature is, the good thing is that if you're doing a Clubhouse, like, and you're in a room or something like that, and you want to chat with somebody, now it's actually easier than having to switch between other apps or have something else open or things like that to be able to do that. So it is nice to be able to have that there as well. So Janine, what do you think?
Yeah, with Clubhouse, I think that's great that they're making it a bit more seamless and a bit more interactive for people to have conversations, especially those that are there on the panel. The thing is, for me, I kind of dropped off of Clubhouse in the sense that I found it a little bit just listening to, it wasn't as interactive. And I can see that they're trying to do a lot more to make there be more diverse conversations for everybody in the room. So I definitely 100% think that that's a good thing. And I think that will potentially bring some people back onto the platform who've kind of dropped off. It is about, again, the whole attention span thing, isn't it? Because it's great that it's audio. It's great that we can have conversations, but it's also easy to tune off. So if there's a way to make it more interactive for all people that are part of that room, I think that's definitely a really great move on behalf of Clubhouse. With regards to LinkedIn, I love the idea of all of these features, but I'm one of these people that has never really gotten my teeth into LinkedIn. Yes, I have a presence over there, but for me, I've always found it quite difficult to kind of not use the platform in a literal sense, but to kind of have that interaction, really connect with people outside of the DMs that do seem a little bit, for me, a bit salesy and a little bit spammy at times. So again, I think that what we're seeing with these platforms is, even though they're not necessarily using the word community, they're seeing that there is power in creating spaces for people to have conversations, for people to come together in a way that is not so clinical and not so robotic. So I definitely think that that's a good move for LinkedIn, and I'll be looking out for these features as well. And hopefully that will get me more.
Yeah, absolutely. We may have to convince you to get into LinkedIn creator mode, actually, because there's a lot to it. So yeah, absolutely. So let's move into talking to you, Janine.
Okay.
Sweep away the news. Let's talk about video and business and leveraging video. And one of the big hurdles that businesses have is the time it takes, right? The time it takes to produce video. And do I go live? Do I go pre-recorded? So let's start. I'm going to start with the easier one. We'll get to the harder ones. But how can you leverage pre-recorded or live or both? What do you think?
So, well, first thing I want to say is that for business owners, 100%, we should be leveraging both pre-recorded video as well as live video, because it comes down to meeting people where they are. Our audiences, our community consume content in different ways. We cannot just assume that it's just going to be live stream or that it's just video on demand. So it is about creating the balance and having the mix. Now, in terms of pre-recorded video, that's going to be the way for you to get in as the expert. Same thing with live, but specifically with pre-recorded. Get in as the expert, get straight to the point, demonstrate the value, give your audience actionable tips, and then that great, powerful call to action, and do that in a condensed way that is going to be right for those who like to consume shorter content. Now, with regards to live video, again, yes, it's positioning yourself as the authority, as the expert, but it's going to go back to my favorite word of the day today, community. So people buy from those we know, who they like, well, I like to say love and trust. So live video is going to be a powerful way to do that, to connect with your audience in a much more accelerated way. And for business owners, and a lot of the people that I actually work with, mainly women entrepreneurs that are top end millennials, Gen Xers, they're already established in their businesses. They're not necessarily wanting to learn all of the things. They've got family, they've got a lot of moving parts. So they want to be able to get to the result. They understand that it's, how that video is powerful, but they want to be able to do it with the path of least resistance. So with regards to video and live video, or whatever form of video that business owners are going with, it is about choosing something that is going to make things a lot easier. So live video there's not a lot that you need to do to be able to go live. So I definitely think that if you are low on time or you're worrying about all these different moving parts, then live video absolutely essentially you should be putting into the mix. There doesn't need to be a lot of pressure to get started. Yes, we are seeing now that live video is becoming a lot more sophisticated, like this live video. We've got these wonderful moving parts and overlays. But again, you don't have to worry about that to get started. And again, it is about connecting with your community, connecting with your audience in a powerful way. So yes, that's what I want to say about that. At this point, I've got more to say. But yeah.
Exactly. Our third question for you was actually tips about live video. So why don't we jump to that? So you have talked about building community, keeping it simple. Are there, let's say, 3 more tips that you can give? Because there are a lot of people who get super fancy and sound effects and all these other kinds of things they put into their live video. But what are some clear tips for live video?
Okay, so stripping back all of those things, let's take it back to basics. So one of the key things that we need to think about is speaking to both our live as well as our replay audiences, because the majority of our overall views always come back on the replay. And also with the replay viewers, we have to remember that they're going to have an even shorter attention span. They're not going to want all of that fluff. So it's really important that when you actually start your live stream, you start with your dynamic opening. Think about pre-recorded videos. We always open with a hook, even with reels. So live video is the same. So the first thing that I want to say is get started straight away. Don't waste time. Don't delay. And I know some people listen to this might say, well, Janine, I see some content creators here on YouTube that are leveraging countdown timers, and that works for them. They already have their inbuilt community. They already have their, their following, their diehard people. But if we're thinking about getting started and getting people to hear our messages, it's really important that we take into consideration their time. So the first thing is get started straight away. Don't delay. Don't wait for people to pop on. Don't be intimidated by the live button that's there. I've got to wait. There's 0 people. Get started straight away. The second thing is feeding into the opening hook, having that dynamic opening. So opening with a question, letting your audience know as soon as they click into that live stream what they're there for and why they should listen to you. So that's another thing. And the third thing that I want to say is that you definitely need to have your framework. But when it comes to live video and getting your community to listen for longer, because it's about attraction and retention, bring them into the conversation. I think a lot of the time when we're going live, we have a message that we want to share. We feel like we've got to just speak out our audiences. But we do need to remember that people need to feel seen and heard and are likely to be more interactive and listen for longer if they feel like they're part of the conversation. So the point that I'm trying to make is get into the habit and get confident with speaking to your audience. Invite them in, asking them their opinion on things, acknowledging them. And it's not about doing that all the way through, because you are getting your message across and you want to make sure that you do that in a timely fashion. But it is about doing some of these things. So yeah, hope that's helpful.
It's absolutely helpful. Absolutely helpful. I have to say, there's some YouTube videos that I watch. I'm like, I don't need to be welcomed or welcome back to your channel. I don't need to hear all of this or hear you repeat something 3 times. Just get to it. Get to the point, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. That's actually something that I learned. Funny enough, I did a 100 days of live streaming here on YouTube. I finished that in January, started in October last year. And, I'm a live video expert and I thought, I know all of the things, but the 100 days did actually teach me quite a lot. I do have my power intro, my dynamic opening, but I was doing much like what you were saying, welcome to my channel, all of these things that people don't need, the filler stuff. So just kind of condense it down and have that powerful opening. And just like you said, get straight to the point. You're going to keep your audience for a lot longer.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Excellent
right.
tips.
And your community gets it. Your community knows that you're there for them. You don't have to keep reiterating everything. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, here's the hard question. Length. We've talked about it, I don't know how many times already, but the length. So what types of videos should be shorter, longer? What do you think about length of video?
Okay, so in terms of live streaming, so if we're looking at community building type live, so I do a community building weekly live every single Friday on my channel, and I have set that it's an hour in length minimum. If it goes over, that's fine. Obviously, if I say all of the points that I need to say and there's nobody there, I would end it much sooner, but I like to keep it for an hour. And the reason being is that I like to create the space for the community. Number one, to be a part of conversation. Number two, for me to add value, much like what you guys are doing here today, which has been awesome. And number three, it's really important that, the questions are answered so that I'm also taking the time to say, hey, I'm here for you. This space is yours, but also it allows me to demonstrate my authority. So I would say if you're doing anything where you're building community, you're spending time with the community, giving that hour is, I think, really, really good time. And if your community are coming to your sessions every single week, they're more likely to stick around as well. Yes, it's a bit harder on the replay, but again, if you are making it clear that you're kind of not chaptering, but you're putting your live into sessions and segments, then people will be able to jump around. And again, they know why they're there. So live video, I think it should be, if it's community, an hour. Now, if you are there to share 3 to 5 tips, for example, and I'm sticking on the lives again, when I was doing my 100 days, I kept them to 20 minutes. And the reason why I kept them to 20 minutes was because I wanted my live streams to mimic video on demand as much as possible. So I wanted to make it short and condensed. So with pre-recorded video, again, I think it's one of those things whereby, whatever it is that you have to say, again, if it's 3 or 5 tips, it's however long it takes and you have the ability to edit. But it is about making sure that you are catering to those who have the shorter attention span, as well as those who are willing to hang around and watch a bit more. But it does depend on whether you're doing a video demo, whether you are doing a community hangout and a space to have conversations. So it really does. It's one of those things that I think that you do have to play around with a little bit. And also it's about, depending on what platform that you're on, how do people tend to consume content and how long is their retention? So yeah, that's what I would say on that.
Yeah. I like that tip about if you're producing it for replay only. I really do like those tips about really thinking about that format and that maybe 20-minute time block. So
Yes,
Christian, anything you want to jump in? You do a lot of live.
I don't have anything to add to this, actually. I mean, I think I echo the same thing I said earlier, which is, make sure the videos, I'd say, actually, the one thing I'd add is look at your analytics. That's the one thing I'd say. Look at your analytics. If you're streaming, for example, to YouTube, look at the analytics and see where drop off happens. So, for example, if you're doing a 1 hour video and you're seeing, people are dropping off after 20 minutes, try and experiment, scale your next video back. Like instead of making it 1 hour, make it 40 minutes and see if you still can keep people tuned in for that 20 minutes or if they watch for a longer amount of time. And then don't be afraid to adjust the videos you make as well. Because again, it's about finding that right formula. I was listening to something. I was listening to a book actually yesterday, and from John Acuff, and it was talking about how did Will Smith get to be like a really big movie star? And what he did was he looked at what are the top movies that people make, and he looked at the formula, and he then said, "Hey, I'm going to make videos with this type of formula." He catered to the ones that had a specific formula. And if you look at all of the top movies he's been in, all the ones that tend to generate the most box office receipts are the ones that follow that formula. So I'd say do the same thing for pre-recorded and live streams. You got to get the formula down.
Interesting. So we have about 2 minutes before we talk about tool of the week. I want to ask you, this is putting you on the spot. We didn't prepare this question, but you said you did the 100 days of live streaming. So what were some of the biggest lessons that other businesses can take away from that, especially those who are trying to start out?
Yeah, so for me, with the 100 days of live streaming, I mean, first and foremost, I did that because I really wanted to get consistent with uploading onto YouTube. What I've actually found is that when you are focusing, yes, on sharing your area of expertise, but you are creating that community experience for those who are consuming your content, that, for me, worked really well. I started to see people coming to my live streams, staying for longer, being really active on my, for example, posting my community tab. But also what was great is I started to see these individuals moving to other places as well. So I think that, so for example, coming to my Facebook group, onto my other social media platforms. So the biggest lesson for me is that in terms of your content, keeping it very, very tight, because I felt that I was, like I said earlier, really good at live streaming. And when I looked back over my content, I saw, goodness gracious me, you were too focused on yourself. Number two, you were taking too long with the points. So there was lots of learning points for me. So keeping it community focused, making it really tight with regards to the points that you want to make, taking into consideration the replay viewers, and creating live video content that replicates video on demand, so that those that come back who aren't really into live streaming but see that you're really on point with your content, that's how you then connect and marry the two up in terms of the two types of audiences that consume your video content.
That's great. I think that's perfect recap for everything that we've said today. So thank you. It is great to take a challenge. It really is great to take a challenge. I'm finishing up 100 days. I think I might be there actually, 100 days of daily creative posting on Instagram. So, it's a different muscle. It's a different muscle to flex. We do these things week in and week out, but that is a different muscle to flex. So to really commit to it every single day. So that's awesome. Thank you. So let's just wrap up the show. We just have a couple of minutes. There is a tool of the week that we want to talk about, and it's called InShot. And so it is a video editor. It's for iOS and Android. And it allows you to have a dynamic timeline the way you might with a desktop app. So you can trim, you can pull pieces out of the middle of your video, which if anybody's tried to do that on mobile device, it's really hard. You have to copy things and trim things down. And it's just a mess. They also have licensed music. You can add voiceover, sound effects, stickers, and text. I'll let you two jump in with what you think about InShot.
I absolutely love InShot. I use it a lot for creating my short form video content, for editing. I think it's an amazing tool. I think I haven't even scratched the surface of what the capability is for it, but I really do like it. Really, I'm a big fan of InShot, and I do recommend it to my clients and community.
I gotta say, in terms of doing any sort of video editing, think about it like this. If you have, for example, an old computer, your computer is going to struggle when you try to do video editing, and your phone is actually a very powerful device. And so a lot of times what you can do is you can do a lot of that work on a phone or an iPad, with apps like this, and they're going to actually make the video process easier to edit. So for example, you can easily just fire up your video. You can make your edits. Some you can use your finger, some you can use a stylus or an Apple Pencil, for example, and the great thing about that is it's going to make it easier for you to get the edits done versus, hey, I spent hours at my desk trying to figure out how to make these edits. Mobile has a limited amount of real estate, so therefore there aren't as many distractions and things to have to learn. So very good app as well. So don't be afraid to check out mobile apps for doing some of those smaller, quicker tasks you need to get done.
Awesome. Great. Well, that brings us to the end. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So, Janine, it's been a blast having you join us this week. I just have just one last question for you, and that's where can people get in touch with you?
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. So you can get in contact with me here on the old tube and across social media, Video for Bosses, or you can check out my website, videoforbosses.com, bossitlive.com. Don't even know my own website.
Very nice.
But yes, so across social media, Video for Bosses. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. I've had so much fun.
Anytime, Sarah. How about you? Where can people get in touch with you?
Same. So you can find me at Sarah Monroe VT across social media. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, please drop a message and let me know that you saw me on Social Chatter.
Awesome. And I'm Christian Karasevich, and I'm at Social Chefs on all the social media platforms. With that, I just have a couple quick announcements. Blog post recap's going to go out over the weekend, socialchefs.com/SC333. Our next show is going to be with Bob Farnham, and that's going to be next Thursday, March 10th. I think it's going to be 10 a.m. So we're going to be broadcasting there. And with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. It's been an excellent episode where we talked about how to make longer TikTok videos and also how to actually decide between pre-recorded video, live stream content, and how to kind of pick the optimal length. But with that, we'll see you all on a future episode. Thanks a lot, everyone.